I checked up on a client today, and he's a very wealthy client, and also a mate. I met him about 6-7 years ago, and we stayed mates. And also he came back to use my services as a mortgage broker. And he's been acting really weird lately, and kind of like sad, kind of depressed kind of mood, that type of vibe. And I reached out to him just like that campaign, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "What's going on, mate?" And he's like, that commercial property that I was talking to you about, which I did get him a pre-approval recently for that. And it's like, the agent's effing me around, the vendor's messing about. And I don't beat around the bush with him, especially with people that I know. I'm like, mate, this is like your 20th property. I mean, you do this every time you buy a property. And he's a total control guy, right? And he has really high expectations, and he expects certain things to go this way and not that way. And because I used to do NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, I was like a mindset coach before, like way a long time ago. I knew something underneath with his language, something was going on with either his family, his marriage, and his work. But the premise of this video, guys, if you stayed thus far, is that, he bought property for financial freedom. And then when I asked him, well, what does financial freedom mean to you? What's your North Star? Oh, well, to be happy, just to retire and experience that happiness. Now, every property that he purchases for that pursuit of the North Star, which is happiness, he goes through this cycle of like anxiety, control, angst, this anger that's seething underneath, but then tames once he purchased the property, and then he does it again and again. So the other day, like, he came to my office, and I just sat him down and said, mate, you mind if I just gave you a bit of, my own opinion, my 2 cents, because I used to do, mindset training for, business professionals. I used to charge them money. I'm like, and I said to him, mate, like, if you could rate yourself out of 10 in terms of your happiness score, 0 being totally sad and depressed, 10 being super happy, what would you rate yourself? This was his answer. He said, fucking 6, mate. That's what I rate my current happiness at the moment. I'm like, mate, you have 20 properties and you rate yourself 6 out of 10. And you think acquiring more and more properties will sort of like increase that happiness scale for yourself? Because I said to him, mate, happiness is not something you can acquire, all right? Happiness is the absence of certain things which will then reveal the happiness to you. And I'll explain to you. Look, I drew a circle, in my drawing board and said, mate, this is happiness. And obviously he gave me this weird look. And it's like, oh, where are you going with this? I'm like, mate, listen. At the present moment, every one of us at this present moment is experiencing happiness. Then this happiness at the moment is diluted with worry, guilt, shame, anger, sadness, frustration, disappointment, and even hate. I said to him, mate, your way of acquiring assets to find this happiness, which is your North Star, is not the right path. You need to remove things. For example, if you remove guilt, shame, anger, sadness, frustration, disappointment, and hate from your life, and then, happiness will reveal itself. And it's always there. Obviously, he looked at me and was like, mate, stop that voodoo shit kind of look. I did a very simple experiment. I said, mate, at this moment, you don't need to tell me what's going on with your life and the events that's happening. But if I had my powers to remove anger for the next 48 hours from your life, how would you rate your happiness scale? And he, thought for a while. He was like, maybe 8. I was like, oh, okay, I'm okay. The experiment is kind of working. Now, for example, on top of anger, you went and removed guilt from your life. If I took it all away for just the next 48 hours, what would you rate your happiness scale is? He's like, fuck, had a bit of bright smile on his face, maybe 9. So I said to him, mate, I don't know what's happening with your life right now, but you could see the concept when you remove things from your life rather than trying to acquire more things like a bloody 20th or the 21st or second property. You can see that it actually benefits your life, right? Anyway, he had a chuckle and he told me to F off. Anyway, but I'm just saying from this video, for those first home buyers or first time investors who think, all right, if I was to acquire more properties, I'll be happy. You'll be sadly disappointed, okay? Property has nothing to do with your happiness. You're inherently happy. As long as you know that, you can still acquire properties and attain that financial freedom But don't mistake that financial freedom, which is maybe your North Star in life, to be your pivotal point of happiness. Because your pivotal point of happiness is right now. It shouldn't be confused that happiness is something somewhere in the future. It's right now. But of course, having, assets and property does help you to live more financially more comfortable, but you shouldn't confuse that that's happiness, because that's what he's confused with. That's why he's feeling blue, and that's why I'm asking him, are you okay? Now, I don't know whether I made any effect with him, but at least I checked up on him and maybe gave him a spark of catalytic thinking, which would probably give him that slight Tony Robbins breakthrough. I don't know, but I'll definitely check up on him once in a while. But this is just a bit of insight, bit of gold nugget, in case that is something that is catalytic for you to learn that maybe buying property is not the end result of your North Star happiness. Jump in the comments, let me know what you think.